Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're taking a look at the 2021 Lexus LC 500 convertible. Now, it is scorching hot today, and I don't think there's a better car to have, especially in a convertible, than this Lexus. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and we can see this thing is beautiful. It's got this really long, yet still sculpted. It has a little bit of a shape to it, hood, and we have these amazing LED headlights. They look so nice. 3 little beams that output a nice clean light, and it just looks mean. I mean, we have these openings here. They are functional. I can put my fingers through there. We have the classic Lexus grille. Yes, we're now calling it a classic Lexus grille because you see this and immediately know it's a Lexus. My favorite thing is that it looks like a piece of fabric. It looks like a piece of fabric that's really constricted up here, but when it starts to go down, it stretches and opens up. Nice design cue. They could have gone with just this up here and kept it down there, but they didn't. It's just that little extra touch, which is nice. And that's what this car really is. It's just that little extra touch. And it looks good. I love, again, that gunmetal that I've always loved with the Lexus grills. But yeah, the best thing about this is has all the Lexus safety stuff, which is crazy. You know, you don't think of safety in a sports car or a very high performance sports car, but this has it. So it has all that, which is nice to have. It is in the silver. I wish I would have gotten it in a different color, but the silver still looks good. Would I have picked something else? Yeah, something louder, because granted, this is still getting a lot of eyes on it, but I don't know if you're paying for a lot of money for the attention, because granted, this you can pay for it for that, but granted, it's still a great overall car. But I don't know, I feel like it does a disservice to this beautiful car to put it in silver. And I get it, you have to kind of the monotones, but yeah, maybe a little bit louder. Well, speaking about louder, let's get under the hood and see what we have there. We get under the hood and we can take a look at this massive, massive is a small word for it, the irony, 5.0 liter V8 that's cranking out 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot of power, and it's getting it through the 10-speed automatic. 10-speed, yes, this thing has a lot of gears, but they work. So as far as the engine, power is awesome. The delivery is spectacular. Instant naturally aspirated power that goes down. Now, a lot of people say V6s don't sound good. I don't think that's the case. I think they sound okay, but V8s just sound so much better. And that's what this is. It just sounds so much better than if they would have probably thrown a V6 twin turbo in here. Do we foresee that happening in the future? Possibly for fuel economy, that kind of stuff. Tunability is always great with turbos, but as far as just raw V8 power and sound, this has it. And it sounds so good doing it. Now that 10-speed transmission, unbelievable. Probably one of the best automatics I've ever driven. However they tuned this was perfect. Even in Sport Plus mode, if you're easing on the gas, the shifts are so smooth. But if you hammer it down, those things will, snap from one to another. It will really go, from one to the next. And what I like about that is you're in Sport Plus, and it's not like the RCF I've driven where it was, if you're in Sport Plus, the shifts are so aggressive. But sometimes if you're, again, it's all about that throttle control, and this lets you essentially program the transmission and telling it or command it, hey, I'm in Sport Plus, I want the fun of the power, but I don't shift so aggressively right now. But if you hammer it, you're definitely gonna feel those gears go through. And first gear is nice and long, which helps out to get the power down, because this is a lot of power to get down. Speaking about that, let's take a look at the wheel and tire package and see what we have there. We take a look at the wheel and tire package, and these things are big and they're beautiful. They look unbelievable. I love the polished look to them, as well as the painted kind of insides to them on essentially every other item. But this is the 21-inch wheel, and they are wrapped in the Michelin Pilot Sports, and this is the 245/40 in the front, and in the back we have the 275/35 back there. You know, you definitely want to have a good amount of tire to not just get this guy going, because it's a big guy, but also to slow it down. And this does the job. This wheel and tire package has tons of grip. It works really well. Usually, again, I've had issues with Pilot Sports before, but it works really well with this. The brakes are unbelievable. It's a big car. It's a big, heavy car. So to bring it down to a stop, these brakes are really, really good. I love them. And road noise is almost nothing. They just work really well. And it doesn't hurt that it looks so good. Well, let's take a look at the side and see what we have there. We take a look at the side and we can see, in very Grand Touring fashion, it's a really long car. It really is. And we start in the front and we can see that massive hood in the front, which it looks really good. The proportions overall from kind of each section of this looks really good, and it works really good. The math was done right. And again, we have that nice big long hood. We have those massive wheels, which really fill the wheel wells, and they look so good. And again, we have the silver color. A couple of details here. We have just kind of this side skirt that has kind of this nice shape to it, really good. And it comes in here. I don't know if this is functional, and it probably is. It's just very difficult to see down there, but it's a nice little cut to this line here. We have the top. So this is a convertible, obviously, with the soft top. Would I have liked a hard top? Yeah, maybe. I think it would have been a nice touch to have, but the soft top is nice. Again, color combo, I probably would have gone with something a little bit louder, but it works. And again, we have the rear here. It's nice. It's nice. It's not super big, but it has those right proportions to it. Beautiful line there. Spoiler, no. I don't think this needs a spoiler, even if it's just kind of those little kind of like lips. I don't think it needs it. I think it looks fine like that. And we'll get to these guys back here. These look really nice. But comes to the time of keyless entry. Do we have keyless entry with this? If I get near it, can I grab the door handle? I cannot. So there's no traditional door handle in the sense of, you know, you can grab, but there's even better. I can go ahead and push this button in there and mirrors pop out, and I have a handle now. It is so nice to have this little detail. It makes it's just that little extra that I mentioned. But again, we close it, and when we lock it, it goes ahead and hides in there. This is a really nice touch. And what's good about this is when I go ahead and I unlock it, it also pops it out. So you get a pass, Lexus. Usually I'm a stickler for, you know, if I have keyless entry, I can come in and just grab and open. But so what if I have to push this little button? It's just so much better to have that cool experience of that popping out. The other thing as well, it does have a little LED light, so it's easier at night to be able to visually see and go ahead and grab it. And there you go, we have that. Now let me go ahead and hop in, and I will turn it on. I will the top. So it's a little switch in here, so you guys can see how the proportions are. And I believe this goes down in about 15 seconds, which is pretty fast. And there we go. We just let all the light in from nature, because it is hot today. Now, when we take a look at it with the top down, it looks great. It looks even better with the top down. So yeah, it gets out of the way. It's very easy to do. Again, it's just literally one button, push and hold down, and it's good to go. Let's take a look at what we have in the back and take a look at some of the cool things we have there. We take a look at the back, and this thing is just so amazing. I love the way that this rear looks. It's just so many great lines in this. First of all, these taillights are really, really great. It has like this kind of infinity look to them. They're like LEDs, but it's just a different feel to them. You'll take a look at that soon. Now, when we get down here, we have just these sculpted lines, really beautiful, really great, and it ties in again with the lines, the math being right with the shape of this. Okay, we take a look at the exhaust though, and we do have that kind of chrome opening down there. It's not the true exhaust. So it does have an exhaust tip that goes to the edge of that, but it's still an open area there. So you get a pass because everything else just looks so much better. But we have, again, the rear, we have the key fob, which you guys know is always my favorite, but it's kind of simple. You have your lock, unlock, hold to open up the trunk. There is no remote start unless you pay for a subscription. This is the biggest headache I have with manufacturers. Just give me the key start, just, you know, remote start. I'll pay the extra for it. I don't care. In fact, if I'm paying this much for this vehicle, give it to me as an option. But yeah, it's based on a subscription, and then you can activate with the key fob. Again, give me the extra charge to it, and I don't want to have to be paying a subscription. So we take a look at the key fob, and if I just hold down, it can pop the trunk. And there's a good amount. With my big camera bag, I could probably fit about 3 of them in here. So it gives you a good amount of space for a weekend trip. You have, you know, you want to go ahead and get out of the city for a while, or into a city or into another city, and you need your luggage, and it will fit. Just obviously pack light. It's going to be only 2 of you probably, so it's definitely a usable, I would say, yeah, a usable trunk. So we have that. Now, the other thing with this is, if you don't have the key fob, pro tip, right over here on this tail light, there is a tiny little button. The Miata fooled me, the LC500 did not. So it took me a while. I was kind of looking, I was like, okay, no, that's parking sensor. I was pulling the Miata, how you guys told me it's down here, but then I looked over here, and yeah, we have the little switch here. And there you go. Well, let's go ahead and go for a ride, and let's have some fun. I'll go ahead and I'll let you guys hear how this sounds when you start it up. And you'll also get to see those awesome brake lights when I hit the brake. Oh God, that sounds so good. Well, let's go ahead and go for that drive. We get inside the LC500, and we're gonna go through the little things really quick, because this car is more of the experience, and that's what I want to share. So we do have the top down. We have the top down because it's a convertible. I want to have, you know, the last time I had a convertible was the Miata, which was fun. That was a little fun car, but this is just that, but bonkers, way more bonkers. So really quick, we get inside, and we have this like red maroon interior, these seats are incredible. They are a little tight on me, so definitely gonna need to hit that gym up or watch them breakfast tacos, but it definitely hugs you and keeps you in, so it's definitely what you need. With that, we take a look on the door handles. So many nice design lines in this. It's really nice, and that red just pops. It pops. It's a shame that the outside is silver because the interior just pops so much, and with this car, you want this to be noticed. So we have that. The steering wheel reminds me of the RCF, which I have test driven. I haven't edited that video, but hopefully one day I will. But we have the wheel, and it's comfortable. It's a nice design. It's a nice leather wrap, dimpled wrap leather on the sides, which is nice for nice firm grip, because you're gonna want to have a firm grip on this. So we have that, and the controls are nice. The controls, you know, change the song, change your volume. It's nice to see that this is ergonomically placed and works really well. Now, another thing I love about this wheel is the paddles. So they are mounted to the steering wheel. Typically, I don't like that. I think kind of the industry standard, so to speak, or the ones that I've set the bar at, is alpha. Alpha column, massive things, massive paddle shifters. But with this, I think this is the new one because they are nice and big. That's the biggest thing with steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, is they are usually very tiny, but sometimes when you're really turning, you want to have the extra length on top and on the bottom, and this has it. So this works really well. The next thing is the gauge cluster. This thing is so nice. It's got that big round tachometer in the middle, and if you don't want it in the middle, you can actually have it move over to the side so that you can see just kind of the, you know, more information regarding, you know, your gas mileage, your song that you're currently playing, like that kind of stuff. But I like it nice and centered. It basically takes away from any distraction, and it just looks nice. And there's different modes. Now, we'll get to that right now, but this is kind of one of those things with Lexus that I was confused about, of like, why you have these kind of like bicycle handles up here, or like horns. I guess grab this bull by the horns, so to speak. But it has this thing up here, these rotary dials, I don't know, but you spin them and that changes the mode you're in, whether you want to go to comfort, you know, sport, sport plus, or eco, which is what we have it here. Actually, we have it in comfort. Let's probably kick it down to eco so it's quiet. You guys can hear me. We'll have some shenanigans later, but basically we have those there. It's a little weird. Maybe very Mercedes-like changes down here would have been nice, because now I'm having to really take my hand off the wheel and grab it up here. So yeah, and I will tell you that these modes actually do make a difference. Kinda. We'll get to that soon. So we have that steering wheel. Now we get to the infotainment, and this is where I'm a little confused, because this screen is big. It's a big screen. It's a nice looking screen. The colors and the sharpness are there. The reason why I say I'm confused about this is because I want to touch it. And you guys know how much I hate touchscreens, but because it's so big, it wants you to touch it. Except that when I do, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah, there's a plastic in front of it. Yeah, it's not a touch screen. What makes it so great is the fact that you have this plastic, but I don't really see much reflection, even when the sun is hitting it. And that's because the screen is really sunken in and kind of covered. So it's kind of like if you have your hand on the screen to block essentially the sun out. So it's nice in there. I love it. It's got the Apple CarPlay, which is where I've been 99% of the time, except for that one time where I was just taking a look at the menu, it's still Lexus menu. It's still got that purple, like kind of outdated look to it, which I'm not a big fan of. So that's always been kind of my gripe with Lexus and Toyota, is that purple, just different color, because it reminds me of old Microsoft Windows systems. But other than that, it's nice looking. It again works really well. And we have, of course, the clock. If you're paying 6 figures, you want to have a clock in this. And then we have a nice little pattern there on the side for your kind of dash panel. Now, one thing that I'm kind of a little confused about is we have these AC vents just kind of over the glove box, and they're pointing up. They're literally pointing up, but it wouldn't be something that would be pointing forward. They're literally just pointing up. So not sure what the function of those are, but it's definitely not going to get to the passenger. Luckily, as a driver though, we have this that's pointing towards me and the other one that's pointing towards me. We come down a little bit lower and we have the one and only cup holder. Yes, we have only one cup holder down here for your very small drinks. So don't expect to have a Texas sized cup, because it's gonna be hitting the AC controls up here. We come down here and we have the typical controls you would get with the Lexus. Really quick buttons to get to your radio, to get to your different media, you know, the next track, that kind of situation there. And we have the nice big, like brushed aluminum button for your volume, or knob for your volume, which works well. It's very ergonomically placed, which is nice when you want to raise and lower the volume, but you can also do it in the wheel, which has very, very ergonomically placed buttons for that as well. We come down here to the trackpad, and it's okay in this car. It worked better in Lexus that have Lexi that have a touchscreen, because if it's something where if that little cursor is set to the very bottom left, let's say, and you need to get to the very top right, it's easier to just touch it so that you can activate it instead of moving essentially the selection area with the little trackpad or touchpad that they have. So it's okay in this. I would prefer the little joystick, but I know they've cycled that out with other vehicles, so it's unfortunate there. We get to the shifter. The shifter, yes, I'm gonna have to talk about the shifter. Apparently, this is the same pattern. It's not the physical shifter, but it's the same pattern as you get in a Prius. Yeah, this is a tad more expensive than a Prius. I don't know, develop something new for this, I guess, but I get it. Recycle bin, you know, parts bin kind of situation. Then we have the hold. Awesome, love it. Brake hold when you're in traffic. Just put your foot down. It holds on to the brakes, and that way you can rest. Because after all, this is a Grand Tour GT car. You want to relax. You want to make the driving an experience, but a great experience. So nice little touch. Then we come over a little bit more to the top buttons, or the buttons for the convertible top. I love it. It's so funny because it's kind of like a sequence. You do have to push the armrest down, back, and go ahead and lift it. So it's like you're driving a fighter jet or something. So it pops up the little panel and you have the button. It is so fast. It is incredibly fast to get this thing up and down. You do have to be under 31 miles an hour if you're planning on getting this up or down and you're driving or get caught in the rain. Hopefully not today, even though the forecast is there. We actually have one button here for the windows. So you can put the windows up and down for both sides with one button. Except, come on Lexus, it's not an auto up or auto down. You have to sit there and hold it. I'm paying this much. Just program that into that little button. You have it for the normal doors. You have it for the door, you know, buttons, but you don't have it for this. Come on, just a small ask. And then we have the glove box here. The armrest here. Nice little compartment, nothing too big. USB connections are in there as well. We get to the back, and as you can see, I don't have my kid's seat here. Yes, it's a shame. I really, really wanted him to experience this because he loves loud cars. And unfortunately, if you have a convertible, don't even, no matter how small, don't even bother. Don't even bother because you're not gonna have space. It's funny because when the guy dropped off the Lexus, I go, wow, there's not much space back there. He goes, yeah, that's for insurance purposes. And it definitely is. It's literally for insurance purposes because there is literally no way you can get someone there. And I'm not the tallest of guys, and there's no space back there. We get to the trunk and it's fairly sized. You know, for a convertible, you're not gonna expect much. You're, you know, 1 weekend or 2 weekend small bags, go out on a weekend trip and you're good. That's really it. Now for the fun part, performance. We have a 5.0 liter V8 under here, cranking out 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque. This thing is incredible. This thing is so much fun. Now we're gonna go ahead and switch it over to Sport Plus. We're going to actually go ahead and put the shifter down to go into manual mode. We're in 5th gear right now. This does have 10 speeds. Now typically I'm like, that's a, you know, why do you need so many speeds? But in this, they work so well. Actually, I'm gonna go back to drive in auto mode. The reason why is because even though I'm in Sport Plus mode, this thing responds so well to your pedal. What I mean by that is if you give it a little bit of gas, you know, a little bit of that extra, the shifts, this transmission is incredible. It will do it nice and smooth because it knows you don't want to go like a bat out of hell and just start shifting, you know, 1, 2, 3, and so on. It's gonna do it, you know, it wants you to be a little bit more, you're telling it you want to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's not like the RCF that I drove that it's all or nothing. You put it in Sport Plus and you're shifting and it's rattling your teeth from how hard those shifts are. Granted, this can do that, but it has so much more finesse to it when you don't want to go to those extremes. It's really, really good. Get ready for this. I'm gonna go just a little bit, and that was smooth. That was smooth. It dropped 2 gears down, and I didn't feel the transmission like I have in other cars, just kind of feel to it. So it's nice. It's just amazing. I could talk about this transmission all day because it's done so well. Now let's have some real fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so yeah, it is a blast. And again, those shifts are so good. Let's go ahead and switch over to manual mode so I have full control over it. And when I mean I have full control, you'll see what I mean. Oh yeah, those downshifts are so addicting. Yeah. Oh. Oh God. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Now, what you guys heard was basically the transmission not shifting. It's manual. It's waiting for you. It's like, hey buddy, you can hear me saying, go ahead and shift. It is so good. I love this thing. And the downshifts, oh my God, that's so addicting. Oh gosh, yeah, this is too much fun. Baby LFA, yes, baby LFA. And the control, man, the feel to this is so good. Man, I could do this for days. Yeah, This is really, really addicting. Ooh, it has such a surreal like sensation it gives you. It's unbelievable. This thing is so much fun. Now, a couple of things with the performance of this is the first gear is really good. It's a little bit on the longer side, so you'll be in there in first gear for a while, which is good. It helps with that ratio helps with getting the power down. So it's a nice thing to have, really. And you can still get it sideways though, and the traction control on this is really good. It doesn't take away from, hey, you want to go forward. It helps get you forward, but safely. I've had it on. This is a lot of power. It's a big car too. It feels like a big, heavy car, but it's good in a good sense. My only kind of downside to kind of the performance and feel to this, I would say, is the steering wheel feel. The feel to this. Right now, I'm in Sport Plus, and it feels good if this were in comfort mode. It's a little bit on the softer side when you're turning. I want to get a heavier feeling wheel. I want to get a heavier feeling wheel when I'm in something like Sport Plus, so I can feel more of the road. Again, I get it. This is Grand Tour, and I get that, you know, it's a luxury vehicle. But if you're giving me a Sport Plus mode, give me Sport Plus steering wheel. If I didn't want it, then I can go ahead and go to Sport or even Comfort. But I think that's probably the biggest drawback, or kind of the biggest thing, is I wish the steering wheel felt a little bit better. Now, is it responsive? Yeah, but there's kind of just a dead, almost too much of a dead spot in the middle. And again, it's a little bit on the lighter side, but overall, when you're really getting this thing going, it feels great. Oh, and I can see my heads up display right in there, so I don't even have to look at the big oh, so good. I don't even have to look at the nice big tack down in the gauge cluster. I have it right above in my sight line. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. And convertible, yeah, I mean, if you're going to be just you and someone else, or this is gonna be just your fun car, you definitely want to get the convertible. Would I have liked the hardtop? Yeah, definitely would have. I think that the lines on a hardtop for this would have been really, really nice. Now, who is this for? This is for those people that couldn't get an LFA. You tried to get an LFA. You have the money for an LFA. You can't find one, or just don't want to pay the ridiculous prices that they are now. And you want something, again, I haven't driven an LFA, but I've heard it. And if you want something kind of in that range, this is what you get. This is what you get. Now, if you have a family and you want to share the love with them, then you definitely want to get the hardtop. The hardtop, I did see have back seats that were significantly larger in space to be able to get, you know, kids seats in there, or, you know, an adult. Maybe not the tallest of adults, but an adult. And definitely that's what you're going to want to do with, you know, when you're going to pick which LC 500 you want to use. Do you want to go convertible, or do you want to go hardtop? Do you want to have two people in your car, or do you want to have two people comfortably and too many people, your little kids? So yeah, that's how you determine whether you want a convertible or not. But overall, this has been incredible. This has been so much fun. And it kind of reminds me of when I had the RCF, and that I said was like a Japanese muscle car. This is that plus more. And just the fact that you get to experience the outside in this and hearing this. Oh, this can never get boring. this vehicle can never get boring. It's just so damn good. Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, this has been an amazing week. I've had such a blast in this. I love this car. I don't love the price tag, but again, is it worth it? Yes, it definitely is worth it. Like I said, baby LFA, if you have the money, then spend it, because this thing is so damn good, and this is definitely what you wanna get your money on. It's a very refined, raw vehicle. I love it. I love it. I've had such a blast in this. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review. I've had a blast in this, and remember, find the right gear. See ya.